However, as evidenced by the corpse at my feet, those words aren't so easy to ignore. As I attempted to survive in this two-class society, willfully believing that I was somehow immune to the corruption and classism plaguing this town, there was always a voice whispering to me, telling me not to believe the good fortune around me. A voice filled me with skepticism and doubt, preempting the inevitable, telling me to take action before it was too late. But you didn't listen. That was my first mistake. I ignored the benevolent advice offered to me, the predictions now shown to be accurate, the good faith I received from someone asking for nothing in return. When it told me to stay in school and live with a guardian, when it told me to seek work elsewhere, when it told me to look for a home somewhere safer, I didn't listen. Every step of the way I fought against the sound, logical advice it offered. If anything, I made a point of doing the opposite of what the voice told me to do. Or at least, until you heard what you wanted to hear. And that was my second mistake. It wasn't that I refused to heed the voice's advice. I simply wasn't interested in taking the safe, reasonable route. So by the time the violence had become advised course of action, my path had already been determined. Sickness. Chapter 1. A New Life. Monday evening, September 5th. Less than half an hour ago, in this very room, I committed a serious crime. A very violent crime. The kind of crime for which people go to prison and without any hope of ever leaving. I lost control of myself, attacked my boss, and without a doubt ended my very short time working in this place. I acted on impulse as I stared in the face of an injustice that threatened to take away my home, allowing myself to do the only thing I could to avoid feeling powerless. But as the adrenaline wore off and the tension cooled, I soon realized my mistake. I saw clearly the fresh corpse at my feet, the stained carpet beneath it, and the bloody hands responsible for everything before me. And so I stared at my own handiwork, accepted the gravity of the situation before me, and took immediate steps towards regaining control once more. Marcus. You know, when you called me here, I figured you needed my help with something not strictly legal. But this? Sure, my man. You outdone yourself. You really do have a bright future ahead of you. Unfortunately, given my dire situation, my options were quite limited. Staring at an imminent prison sentence in the face, I called upon Marcus, a co-worker of mine. Contrary to his crappy hair dye and lean figure, Marcus is a man of many trades, several of which aren't entirely legal. Since the moment I began working here, Marcus has been open about his criminal dealings, more than once hinting that he could help me, or vice versa. And now that things have come to this, it's time for him to make good on that promise. Oi, less talking, more lifting. I'm here to help you two out, not take care of everything myself. The second Marcus saw our boss in his current state, he understood the situation. Without asking a single question, he promised to help me out of my predicament, thereafter calling a man whom I'd never met before. And surely enough, upon seeing our boss's corpse, the stranger smiled to himself and grabbed Mr. Mordu's legs, dragging his body into the doorway before requesting assistance. Don't be like that. Surely a big, strong man like you can lift that weedy piece of shit by yourself. And get this poor sap's blood all over me in the process? Either give me a hand or do it yourself. Marcus and his accomplice carried my boss's corpse into the stranger's van, which was parked just outside Mordu's office. Thanks to the proximity of my boss's office, nobody heard our scuffle over the machinery used within the warehouse, and Marcus's acquaintance was able to block visibility and access to the office with his vehicle. Even so, despite knowing how fortunate my circumstances were, I couldn't help but feel anxious.